Hello everyone, I'm Cameron, KD9VGV, and I'm very glad to have the chance to be here today at the 2024 Dayton Hamvention as well as Carroll Perry's Youth Forum. My QTH is Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, about 30 miles northeast of the capital of Wisconsin, Madison. The grid square is EN53NL. As I mentioned, my name is Cameron, KD9VGV. I'm 12 years old and in 6th grade. I love doing a few sports, such as basketball and track. I also love everything to do with amateur radio. My favorite part of amateur radio is how there are endless possibilities and you never know what you'll do next. I especially like operating outside. It has its own challenges to overcome, but it makes it that much better. I'm having so much fun in amateur radio and do not plan to stop anytime soon. It all started in April 2022 when my amazing dad, 89DO, sitting right there, previously KD9UVX, got his technician license and let me do third-party traffic on nets and other 2-meter and 70-centimeter activities. He pushed me to get my license, and since it was a lot of fun, of course, I said yes. After a month of studying, I took the technician test, so my dad took his general test, and we both passed. It was even more fun doing VHF, UHF, and 10 meters with my own call, but I wanted to do more. So I started studying for the general test, and in January 2023, more specifically, the day before winter field day, I took the test and passed. Shortly before I received my general class license, I was introduced to Parks on the Air, or POTA. Once I did my first activation, I was hooked. I enjoy hunting POTA stations and activating at parks. I love POTA because of the challenge to take all of your equipment out to a park, and of course, the pileups. I love to explore the different things to do for Parks on the Air activations. I've been doing roves, and currently I'm learning Morse code, and I've even gotten on the air a few times. I'm still learning, so you will not hear me on the air a lot. I continue to do activations and have done over 100 successful activations at over 40 different parks. I've also hunted over 700 different parks. Also, I like participating in contests. For example, the day after I received my general license, I went to operate Winter Field Day 2023 overnight on a frozen lake with my dad as KD9VGV/AG. The whole trip was a crazy adventure, and I'm glad I spent my first time on HF with my call for Winter Field Day. We decided to bring out all our HF equipment as well as some satellite things. Sadly, our satellite antenna broke during the trip, so we only had access to HF. Luckily, hams like to fix things. The antenna was fixed shortly after. Over the whole time, my dad and I got almost 400 QSOs. When we were sleeping though, it blizzarded. This gave us some more challenges to overcome, but eventually we got us and everything home safely. Also, in March 2023, my dad and I operated the Wisconsin QSO party. At the time, we only had one radio, so we would take shifts. Once we were done, I processed the logs and found out I got 3rd place in the rookie category. I did it the year after and got many more contacts. Another thing I love is FM satellites. When I started satellites, my dad and I did a lot of research. We programmed the International Space Station, or the ISS, repeater frequencies in our HTs, and tried to work others through the repeater with our J-pole. We did not get any contacts for a while, but one day when I was calling, I got a contact. It was amazing, and I was excited to make more. I continued getting contacts and upgrading gear until one day I heard NA1SS. I knew it was the astronaut at the International Space Station, and I was anxious to work him. The whole contact was amazing, and I'm very glad that I was able to get him. The satellite is only on a few times a month, so it's not very common to hear him on the repeater, but luckily I was still able to get him. I even got the contact and recording, and I can show it now.
November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra, KD9, VGV, QSL. Kilo Delta 9 Victor Golf Victor, QSL.
Kilo Delta 9 Victor Golf Victor, November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra. What's your name?
My name is Cameron, and I am in EN53NL. Thank you for the contact.
Welcome aboard the National Space Station. Best regards from lower orbit.
Shortly after, I sent a QSL card to the astronaut, and within a few days, I got an amazing QSL card back. Another day, I worked another youth on the ISS, Grace, KALG. After I talked to her, she introduced me to the Young Amateurs Communications Ham Team, or YACH. The head of YACH, Ed, KG8CX, gladly accepted me, and I run the Echolink sessions every once in a while. Ed is the reason I'm here today, and I'm very thankful for Ed suggesting me to Carroll. FM satellites may seem easy at first, but we all know many things in amateur radio are not truly easy. Satellites are a big 15-minute adrenaline rush. Because the satellite is only above your area for a short amount of time, you get a couple of 10 to 15-minute tries a day. But it all depends on the satellite and the day. Some days the satellite will be closer to you, while other days you may not get it at all. Also, the ISS is not the only satellite that you can choose from. There are a variety of satellites, including the AO91 satellite, SO50 satellite, CAS36 satellite, PO101 satellite, and so much more. You can find more satellites and information, such as frequencies and times that will be near you, at a variety of websites and apps, but I recommend amsat.org. For satellites, you can use a lot of different kinds of equipment. Although many people use HTs, you can use many different radios. If you not want to have two radios, one to transmit and one to receive, you can get a full duplex radio or attach a duplexer. You can also use almost any different antenna, but there are many different kinds that work better. When you need to see where the satellite is and where to aim your antenna, you can use a large amount of apps and websites, but once again, I recommend amsat.org. When my dad and I do satellites, we bring out a Wouxun HT, an air antenna, a duplexer, along with a voice recorder. Another thing to consider when setting up your satellite station is the Doppler shift. Think of it like the noise of a car getting quieter on one side, then louder, then quieter on the other side. It is like this, just with frequencies. To make up for this, I programmed 5 different channels with the frequencies getting higher as the satellite continues to move. Once you have all of your equipment, you can find a few of the more popular FM satellites and program them into your radio. Wait until a time when the satellite will be near you and start operating. You know the satellite will be near you because you'll hear many others talking first. You may not be successful for your first few tries. Eventually, you'll start talking to a lot of people, and maybe if you're lucky, an astronaut in space. Another thing to mention when talking about FM satellites is the exchange. Because the satellite is only above you for a short amount of time, and because only one contact can go on at a time, you want to make the contact short. You do not want to have a whole conversation on the repeater, because many others may get angry. To make contact short, all you have to do is exchange your call sign and grid square and get the other person's call sign and grid square. For example, my exchange would be KD9, VGV, and EN53. Also, it is a big rush, so you may not remember call signs. So remember to bring a piece of paper. There are a lot of things to do in this hobby. Whether it's parks in the air, DX hunting, or digital modes, it is all a lot of fun. And if you're looking for a new thing to do in amateur radio, look no further than satellites. They can be a fun way to get further stations on the higher bands and get outside. I'd like to mention that I've only attempted FM satellites. I'm still collecting gear to try to get into SSB satellites. I want to thank everyone again for giving me the chance to be here today. I hope you learned a lot today and continue to learn from this amazing hobby. 7-3 from KD9 VGV.